Hey, what's up everybody? This is Kyle and I'm back with another video. I've had some results with this now. I've gone to F&M with this deck twice. It's a blue deck as you can see, so I decided to finally do a deck tech on it. I imagine if you're looking at this, then you have absolutely no idea what it is. The deck is Bant Flash, because evidently, no matter what the format, I can't get away from playing a Flash deck. The shout out for this deck has to go to my friend Joe, who I've told you about several times, Joe Janik. He built the deck, designed the deck, top forward in IQ with the deck. So, all credit goes to him. I tweaked it a little bit, but the real credit has to go to him for building this awesome deck that I'm loving playing right now. I'm going to go over some of the matchups, but this is Bant Flash. Let's go over to the cards. We have one of Simic Charm. It's just a one of, you know. He said that there was like room, like he probably wouldn't have this in his list, but I decided to go with the one of Simic Charm. You know, it's versatile, can unsummon, can pump a guy late, and the hexproof is always awesome. 3 Selesnya Charm, you flash in a night, like the deck is meant to do. I think I only have, what, 3 cards that aren't instants, and this is certainly not going to deviate. Very relevantly, it kills every god once they become a creature, exiles them, so they can't even, like, you can't even look at indestructible. And the trample pumping, more relevant than you'd think a lot of the time. But normally you're kind of a defensive deck, but against the control mirror, you can just use this as like a pump spell, or like an early game aggressive knight. Probably the biggest flash card, the biggest as far as power level goes, Advent of the Worm. This is a card I was playing in my Naya deck. Advent of the Worm is still very good. You play it here, just like, you know, it's a 5/5. It's like your big threat. You can use it to block some of the creatures in standard right now that are really, you know, getting to be used a lot. A 5/5 buy is always good, and you can go aggressive with this card, like at the drop of a hat, and it can team really well with some of the cards that we'll see later on. And 2 Supreme Verdict. These are my foil Supreme Verdicts. Joe ran 4 verdicts. He said he wanted to be prepared for the aggro matchups. Said they helped a lot, especially against like green-white. I don't know. I never felt like I needed 4 whenever I've played it, but I've only played it a total of like, what, 7 matches? 8 if you count the ones at home with my brother. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about it. I'm ranked 2. I don't feel like you really want to have 4 in a deck with, it's like potentially 16 creatures on the board. You know, you're never going to get all of them, of course, but you're going to be killing your own creatures. And I don't feel like your matchup against aggro is like 0% if you don't have 4 verdicts. So, I don't know. That I'm ranked 2. Verdicts, of course, a very good card. You aren't always going to be ahead. You're going to want it every once in a while. It's going to be pretty good, and you can dig for it very well. Now moving on to some of the less aggressive, more control-y spells. We have 4 Azurius Charm. I can't move away from the 4 of Azurius Charm, as you know. Azurius Charm is, of course, just good. I don't really feel like I need to explain it. It's a flash card. Draw you a card. Lifelink's relevant. Of course, the top of the library is always a relevant effect. The Azurius Charm is, of course, very good. These are a new edition. I haven't run the deck with these, so I ran 1 more Dissolve and 1 more Syncopate for a while, and in place of the 2 extra verdicts. Now I'm running 2 Essence Scatter. I feel like the format like has, aside from like just straight up like Esper Control or Blue Control, has a creature you want to counter. And even there you want to counter Aetherling, but it's unlikely it's going to, you know, be helpful. Essence Scatter is like very good in the format right now. I feel like it's going to help me a lot whenever I play like a green-white deck, which has been my only loss thus far with this deck. But like, that's just how I see it. I don't know if any deck that like is not going to have at least 1 creature you want to counter probably will come out in certain matchups, and we'll get to that later. 3 Dissolve and 3 Syncopate. That's what the point of this deck is. That's why you're playing Flash. It's so different from Blue and Red Flash, because counter spells are good. Counter spells are very good right now thanks to No Cavern. You don't even have to worry about it. Dissolve is awesome. The scrying is more important than I thought. Syncopate can just blow people out. I had like so many like run this guy. I remember my friend, he was like, voice resurgence, go. And I'm like, hold on, I'm syncopating that for one. And he's like, syncopate? Jeez, because like no one runs syncopate anymore. So you're running 3 syncopate, 3 dissolve, and 2 essence scour. You're running a ton of counter magic, and it's all good. Like I don't know of many matchups like you're gonna go down to 6 in maybe against Mono Raid you go down to 4 maybe, but like you really love counter magic in this deck. It is the backbone of the deck, and it's just a really good. The counter spells are really good right now. And then very quickly, you might have seen under the Azurius Charms for Revelation. This deck's backbone is Revelation. Like, maybe like the counter spells are what are going to get you to the revs, and they're very important. But Revelation, you have to have one if you're going to win the game. You are not going to win the game if you don't resolve Revelation unless you're playing against the Control Mirror. It's as simple as that. Revelation's awesome. That's why I love this deck. You know it's one of my favorite cards. Revelation's just so powerful, and right now, like, this is the main card in the deck. This is like the poster child, just 4 Sphinxes, and if you go down to 3, maybe you think you can get away with it in Blue-White Nesper, which you shouldn't be doing anyway because that's just ridiculous, but you are certainly not going to get away with it in this deck. You have to have 4. 4 Boon Satyrs. I mean, it flashes, it bestows, it's a solid card. It's probably the worst card in the deck, to be honest with you. I don't really like it, but, like, you just need flash creatures, you need threats, and, I don't want to run, like, more counter magic. I think it's a fine card. I just, Boon Satyr's just kind of average. A card that I found to love, for Horizon Chimera, flying, trample, flash for 4 mana, and whenever you draw a card, gain a life. Yeah, so, I had one of these out once, and I revved for like 6, I gained 12. Yeah, so Horizon Chimera team is awesome with a lot of these cards. Rev, Azurius Charm to draw a card. You can dissolve the setup, maybe a Rev or something like that. Every draw step is like good against aggro. You're going to leave this in a lot of the time. You're probably going to take it out against the really quick aggro decks. Like at least just one, not like all 4. You're never going to take out all 4, and this is a very good card. It's certainly exceeded expectations, and Boon Satyr has probably done worse than I expected. And yeah, if you ever watch my Blue Red Flash deck that I top 4'd in IQ with, you would know I jam in my 1 Aetherling because you can get free wins sometimes, and it's paid its dividends as it always does. Aetherling is awesome. Aetherling is, I don't think I need to say, it's just the most powerful creature possible right now. And, it's just really good right now, and it dodges a lot of the, it does really good in the mono black matchup. Aetherling's, of course, going to be in here. We're going to go over the mana base real quick. 4 Hallowed Fountain, 4 Breeding Pool, 4 Temple Garden, 4 Temple of Mystery, 2 Azurius Guildgate, 2 Plains, 2 Forest, 3 Island. You don't really want too many tap lands. I took out a Guildgate recently to play the second Plains because I was finding myself like playing tap land. You're going to shock yourself a lot in this deck, just be prepared for that. That's why you have a lot of life gain. You have the 7 basics, but they actually don't hold you back. Like, you're never like really struggling for colors. I think the mana base is very good, and this is how Joe built it. Basically, I think that this deck's very good right now. I think it's very powerful right now. It has a great mono black matchup. Like, they just don't do anything awesome against you. That deck in general, I don't think is awesome in any way. But you're willing to let these guys die. Maybe even this guy. Eventually, one of your 13 big threats, Advent of the Worm, Boon Satyr, or Horizon Chimera, or Aetherling, are gonna land. Just counter their Erebos and Underworld Connections like they're actual threatening creatures. They're actually like card advantage machines. Like, Pack Rat's mildly annoying, but you can just verdict them away. I did that several times. They have way too much removal game 1. Game 2, their Disruption is highly overrated. And I think you can beat Mono Black easy. Mono Red's a kind of tough matchup, but you usually just use your Chimeras and Boon Satyrs as Doomblades and build up to like Advent or Aetherling. Game 1, Game 2, just straight to Advent. And Revelation always, of course, helps. You have a great control matchup. Be prepared for that. You have a fantastic control matchup because you have 8 counter spells. Your revs are good, and you can put pressure on them. You have a very good probably a very good Naya control matchup. Haven't played it yet, but from like what I've tested and what I've seen, it would probably be a very good matchup there as well. I don't know. Like you have a pretty bad Selesnya aggro matchup. Like even though I've tried to employ some of the same things, like use them as Doom Blades and such, they just like their threats are instant speed with the same as us. Like Boon Satyr, Advent, and Selesnya Charm. They're just instant speed. They're too fast and they're all so big. Like you can't react quick enough. But yeah, I just think this deck is very good, well positioned in the metagame. You're going to surprise some people with this deck. It's a really cool list. I love it. I love playing Flash again. I love playing Sphinx Revelation again. And I love playing Blue again. And I just think this deck's really cool. But this is Kyle, and I will see you guys later.